Hi everybody, I'm Jo Pro and I'm an indie author, and today we're going to be talking about conquering your gremlin. I think every writer has one, every creator I think has one. So how do you conquer your gremlin as a writer? I get asked this a lot since I've been writing for so long and I've gone through my own gremlin issues. Here are my 5 tips on how to conquer your gremlin. So number 1, acknowledge they exist. I did a blog piece on this way back and it helped that I could visualize my gremlin. I named him Neil and acknowledged that he is there. It's a good idea to do the same, and how that you do that depends on you. Some people will do it through visualizing, some people will just acknowledging that yeah, I have a gremlin and they exist. Some people will use the same route as me, others won't, and that's completely okay. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has a gremlin of some kind. For some people their gremlins speak louder than others, but you're not alone, and taking steps to acknowledge that they're there does help. Number 2, highlight your weak spots. Personally, my weak spots are things that I usually talked about in the CPT class. That's just me, but in reference to my writing, I spend way too much time worrying. If there's a reason for me to worry, I will worry, and it's not the best way to go about things. I work with this weak spot by employing various tactics that I'll cover in a minute. But you need to be honest with yourself. You don't have to share your weak spots or your gremlin or anything else like that with anybody. It can just be something you do for yourself. But acknowledging it to yourself is a big step. Everyone has something that they struggle with, and that's okay. Some people will be overwriters, which I am too, but yeah, there we go. Some people will worry about the critique that they're going to get, and some people will worry about what people think. And there are so many different ways to have a gremlin that it happens to everybody. Nobody's perfect, not even that writer or person you compare yourself to. I guarantee that that person that you look up to probably has a gremlin of their own. No probably about it, they have a gremlin of their own. Number 3, remind yourself of the validity of the gremlin's words. I covered this a bit when I did talking about dealing with self-criticism and criticism itself. This is where I employ the tactics from CBT. CBT is one way to deal with gremlins. I have gone through it because I have anxiety, I have depression, and it worked for me. That doesn't mean that it has to be an option for everybody. It's not an option for everybody. I thought I would use the one that helped me most. So for example, when I hear the whispers that my work sucks, I remind myself that it's the first draft. I remind myself that it doesn't have to be perfect. And I remind myself that just because it isn't perfect doesn't mean I have to quit. I remind myself I have other evidence that points to the gremlin not being right, like reviews or feedback from beaters or critique from my critique partner, stuff like that. I don't have to worry about the validity of the gremlin's words because I can remind myself that they're not true. Which leads to number 4, break down their criticism. This can be done in your head, or if it helps, writing it down and breaking down the words. So if your gremlin is telling you you can't write anything good, you break it down by listing the facts for and against the argument. So it works because you're not just listing against, you're listing for as well. So it means that you can sit down and you can write out all those things that you feel about yourself, but they have to be facts, they can't just be thoughts, there have to be some basis in reality. Once you've done that, you can see for yourself that the criticism is invalid. You have to remember to stick to the facts though and not thoughts. So things like good reviews or good feedback from your beta group, etc, etc. And criticism should be valid criticism. It shouldn't just be the thought of, well, I suck, so I must suck. You can do this with as many criticisms as needed. Once you've broken down the criticism, you can see how valid it's not, and it helps you work through things. At least that's what works for me. If this doesn't work for you, that's completely okay. Everyone has their own different styles and different ways. I'm just going about what works for me, and I can only advise basically on what works for me. And finally, number 5, remember the facts and keep writing. The big thing to remember is that you're going to have good days when you ignore the gremlin, and you're going to have bad days when that's what you think about. It doesn't mean that you failed if you have bad ones. That's completely normal. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has days when they feel like they're no good. The gremlin gets louder and louder. And the point is to not let your gremlin control you. What you write, how you write, or when you write. You just need to keep writing. I know that sounds really flippant, and I know it sounds really very much easier said than done. But that's the basis of it all. You just have to keep going, and that's the important thing in all of this, is that you keep writing and you keep creating and you keep fighting the fight. And I know it's hard. I've struggled with it all my life, can. I've struggled with it all my writing career and I know it's hard, but you have to keep going. So basically that's it. That's my 5 tips for conquering your gremlin. So my advice is basically just to talk through it, work through it, and keep going. And that's basically it. So that's all I have time for today. If you want to get in touch with me, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or subscribing to my channel. You can also find me on Facebook or Goodreads or Tumblr or Twitter. My books are available on Amazon in ebook and paperback format, and I also have a newsletter. And don't forget to check out the Dark Side of Fiction 2017 event, which is happening in about 2 days, so that's like really scary. So I will see you next time, and thanks for watching. Bye!